Namaste. This presentation is for educational purposes only and does not aim to diagnose, prevent, or cure any disease or disorder. The advice and methods in this presentation should not be construed as financial, medical, or psychological advice or treatment. Please seek advice from a professional if you have serious financial, medical, or psychological issues. By watching and or participating in this presentation, you understand that results are not guaranteed. Yamajit, John Hollinsby Mayer, Tridevi Chamunda Mandir, and YouTube cannot accept any responsibility for any injuries or damages incurred from the practices and meditations contained in this video. Namaste. Welcome to Tridevi Chamunda Mandir in Denver, Colorado. I'm Yamajit, and thank you for joining me for our next installment in our series of sadhanas for different forms of Ma Kali. Today is Ma Dakshinkali sadhana for strength during difficult times. I'd like to start out with a couple of announcements. There will be no Friday puja this week or Tuesday satsang next week due to the fact I've got business out of town. However, a week from Friday, we'll be resuming with Fire Puja and Satsang to Ma Baglamukhi, and that's the next installment of our Many Faces of Ma Kali series. In this session, we'll be looking to focus our awareness on navigating times of difficulty with the help of the Divine Mother, specifically Ma Dakshinkali, whose name means Kali of the South. She is the Kali of the southern direction, which is also the direction of Lord Yama, the Lord of Death, and also the upholder of Dharma, which is why on the left side of your screen, one of our meditational images is of Lord Yama and Ma Chamunda. In this case, Kali Chamunda is acting in the role of Lord Yama's consort. This is a modification of a meditation from the book Cho Practice Demystified by Baal Kedman. Instead of offering ourselves to one of our inner demons, we are instead giving ourselves to a form of Ma Kali for that purpose. And this is for restoring balance in our lives through the transformation of malevolent energies. In this series, within a series, and currently this is part of our tantric breathwork and meditation series, I've modified this practice to honor the four forms of the goddess Kali for whom this temple is dedicated. So we'll be working with four different archetypes over a 4-week period. We started the series with Ma Sveta Kali, the white Kali, for courage. Last week, we did a sadhana for Ma Bhadra Kali, the benevolent mother, for material concerns and also for enhancing one's sense of self-esteem, self-worth. And you can find recordings of both of those on this channel if you'd like to do those sadhanas. Today, Ma Dakshinkali, the wrathful protectress, and then in 2 weeks, Mahakali, the combined force of the three, and this will be a meditation for self-empowerment. Ma Dakshinkali, again the Kali of the southern direction. In Nepal, her temple is located south of Kathmandu, and she's a goddess associated with blood sacrifice. And when I read her story, I'll go into more detail about that. When we look at a traditional Nepalese Dakshinkali image, we see really the wrathful of the wrathful. This is really Kali in her most wrathful form. She is squatting upon Lord Shiva in a birth-giving position, but she is feasting on some of the viscera torn from his abdomen. Which really this shows just really the ultimate surrender to the divine. She has a sword for cutting the ego, cutting those things that hold us back from expressing our true selves. And looking in the opposite hand on the other side, she's holding the head of one of these inner demons. And that really represents the not just the severing of the ego, but rather the liberation, the transformation of an energy from a malevolent or an imbalanced form to a more balanced or healthy form. She holds a small shield, which signifies her role as a protector. She has a chopping blade, or kartika, which represents cutting away of unnecessary attachments. Sometimes she is shown with two of her hands clutching the viscera upon which she is feasting, as in this stone temple carving. In this particular one, we see another hand holding a trident, and that represents the central channel, Shushumna, running along the spine, and the two channels alongside it, the solar and lunar channel, Ida and Pingla, Ida being the more receptive or feminine energy, Pingla on the right side, the more masculine or dynamic energy. In this case, we also see that she's holding a kapala or skull cup, and this signifies the transformation of consciousness. And again, I'll be going into more details about these images. Like we did last week, we have two different images for you to choose from to use during our meditation. This is an image you can hold in your mind's eye with your after looking upon it for a while. Our practice will be given as a guided meditation, and since this is a visual process, we are using these statuettes. The practice, by the way, can be done for any deity in your own practice, and you're welcome to make your own modifications in doing this. Really, what you need is a picture or statuette of your chosen deity. It can be something as simple as something you've printed off of the internet. And you'll also need to know a mantra for your chosen deity. So let's begin our meditation. I invite you to close your eyes, breathe deeply. And make any adjustments that you might need to be comfortable. Preferably with your back straight and your chest open. This is typically a seated meditation, but it could be adapted for someone lying on their back in Shavasana as well. But continue breathing deeply. Breathing in relaxation and focusing upon the present moment. And now I invite you to think about a situation in your life where you're currently experiencing difficulties of some form. Maybe a situation where you're in need of some insight, some kind of healing, or just general resolution. Think about it. Maybe visualize it. And also See if you can notice where you might feel these issues physically in your body. Is there a place where you're feeling physical tension, or maybe a sense of emptiness, or just an area physically where your awareness is being drawn right now? And now take some time to acknowledge that the Divine Mother is with you always to guide you toward resolution and the restoration of peace. And take a moment as well to also acknowledge that you're taking part in this practice is an important step in healing and bringing your personal issue to resolution. And now I invite you to take a deep and clearing breath. Slowly open your eyes, keeping your gaze relaxed while looking at your screen and focusing on one of the two images of Ma Dakshinkali. Find the image that calls out to you, the one that you're drawn towards. But look upon her image, notice its details, breathe deeply, and listen now to her story. Dakshinkali, the wrathful protectress, the sister of Lord Yama and the creation of time, Chamunda and Yama. The oldest scriptural text in the world is the Rig Veda, the first of the 4 Vedic texts. Its name means praise of knowledge, and it may date back to at least 4,000 years ago. The text contains hymns to the oldest known of the Hindu deities. Among these early Vedic deities are Yama, the lord of death and the underworld, and his twin sister and consort Yami, a form of Ma Chamunda, or Kali. Yama and Yami were originally the first 2 mortal humans to be born into this world, and thus they are the progenitors of humanity. They were the children of Surya, the sun god, and his wife, the storm cloud goddess Saranyu, whose name means conscience. The original meaning of the names Yama and Yami were masculine and feminine twins. The words, however, have come to mean the ones who restrain, thus implying the natural laws to which all living beings are subject. Yama became known as Dharmaraja, the upholder of Dharma, or correct purpose, while Yami was later personified as Yamuna, one of the great river goddesses of India. In yogic subtle anatomy, the Yamuna River is identified with Ida Nadi, the feminine channel located on the left side of the body. The twins, Yama and Yami, were conceived and delivered from Saranyu's womb, and like the biblical Adam and Eve, they were born into a garden of earthly delights where time stood still. Here it was always daytime, and the season was always spring. Everything remained eternally young, and death did not yet exist. Yama and Yami lived together in harmony, and as they grew into adulthood, their love for one another deepened. Yami longed to become Yama's lover, and thus the mother of humanity, but Yama was reluctant to engage in a relationship deemed incestuous. In the 10th hymn of the Rig Veda, Yami says, "My desire for Yama overwhelms me, to lie with him on the same common couch. I will yield myself as a wife would to her husband. Let us hasten to unite like two wheels of a wagon." To which Yama replied, "The sentinels of the gods which wander around us never stand still, never close their eyes. Associate yourself with someone other than me, and exert yourselves in union like the two wheels of a wagon. The succeeding time will come when brothers and sisters will perform acts that are unmeet for kinsfolk. But not so for me, O fair one. Seek another husband other than me, and make your arm a pillow for your consort." Yami then said, "Is he a brother whose sister has no lord? Is she a sister when destruction comes? Overcome by love, these words I utter. Come near and hold me in your close embrace." And Yama responded, "I will not entwine my arms around your body. They call it a sin when one draws near to his sister. Enjoy your pleasure with someone other than me, for your brother, auspicious one, has no such desire." "Alas, Yama, you are weak," said Yami. "In you I find no trace of heart or spirit. Some other female will embrace you as a creeper clings to a tree." "Then find another to embrace you, Yami," replied Yama. "Yet another, let another enfold you, even as a creeper encircles a tree. Win his heart, and let him win your fancy, and he shall form with you a blessed alliance." The hymn at this point ends rather abruptly with no closing verses. Many interpret that as an omitted ending, which most likely had Yama succumbing to his twin's advances. I mean, after all, the human race exists today in great numbers. In embracing Yami and becoming her lover and husband, Yama would have experienced a full life involving marriage and fatherhood. He would have seen his children grow to maturity, marry, and have children of their own. At this point, the divine couple would have been the first to perceive time in a once timeless world. In another version of the story, Yami finds her husband Yama lying beneath a tree as if he were asleep. She softly called his name and gently shook him, but Yama did not respond. She called louder and shook him even harder, but Yama still did not respond. Yami then noticed that Yama's body felt cold and that he was not breathing. Yami then realized that Yama was no longer alive and had become the first ever to die. Yami was heartbroken at this revelation, and she was overcome with grief. Her tears became the sacred river Yamuna, which inundated the earth. And because it was only daytime and never night, Yami's grief was also endless. The gods and goddesses assumed physical forms and tried to comfort Yami in her despair, but she was unconsolable, saying, "But Yama died today, he died today." After meeting in council, the gods finally realized that Yami's grief was eternal. Because she existed in an unending state of time, there was no such thing as yesterday, and there was also no tomorrow. To alleviate Yami's perpetual sorrow, the gods reasoned they needed to bring equal intervals of day and night into being. For only then could today become yesterday and tomorrow truly begin. So the great Vedic gods of the earth used their creative powers to bring night into existence by causing the sun to sink below the western horizon and to later rise again in the east. During the intervals of darkness, the moon and stars made their first appearances against the black velvet vault of the sky, causing the earth's creatures to seek rest and fall into sleep. Among these creatures, Yami also slept for the first time. She awoke as the dawn sky was breaking, with the awareness that Yama had died before the onset of night, and she said to herself, "Why, Yama must have died yesterday." And in the next sequence of dusk, dawn, and day came to pass, she said, "Why, Yama died the day before yesterday." As the time passed and the seasons began to manifest, Yami's grief slowly began to ease with the passage of time, for there were now intervals of darkness and sleep that divided her days, and oblivion came to vanquish the pain of her brother's death. And although her grief remained, while her waking memories persisted, she also experienced the true nature of human existence, and she became wise through the acceptance of her sufferings. By being the first mortal to experience the full spectrum of human existence, Yami and Yama became deified and took their place among the gods and goddesses. Because Yama had been the first man ever to be born, he was also the first man ever to die. And according to the Vedas, he was also the first human being, to discover the secrets of life, death, and the cosmic laws that govern all existence. Through experiencing death as a portal to immortality, he attained the divine status of a god in his own right, becoming the Lord of the Dead, with the auxiliary title of Dharmaraja, meaning the king of Dharma or righteousness. Yama rules over the underworld realm of Yamaloka, where the souls of the dead rest and sometimes undergo penances for various karmic debts before once again taking birth. Yami became Ma Chamunda herself. In the collection of tantric goddesses known as the Ashtamatrika, or Eight Little Mothers, she is recognized as Lord Yama's consort. Yama personifies the function of Lord Shiva as the destroyer, and thus he is also identified as Mahakala Bhairava, the great terrifying force of time, Shiva's wrathful aspect. Likewise, Chamunda, Kali, is recognized as the wrathful form of Parvati, who is Shiva's consort or Shakti. Bhairava and Chamunda, in this case also known as Bhairavi, dwell upon the cremation ground. They convey the souls of the dead upon their paths toward the next life, and they share their wisdom with those devotees who are willing to let go of their fears. Their direction on the wheel of the compass is the south. The city of Kathmandu, toward the south, is the temple of Dakshinkali, meaning the Kali of the southern direction, a form of the Divine Mother who is both destructive and yet also protective of her children. It is said that the Dakshinkali temple was built after the goddess Kali herself appeared in the dream of a Malla king, a ruler in the 14th century. In this dream, the goddess appeared to the king naked and with black skin. In her multiple hands, she held a trident, sword, shield, and severed head of a demon. She crouched in a birth-giving position upon a corpse, the corpse of Lord Shiva, and her two remaining hands grasped a section of viscera taken from his abdomen, upon which she was feeding. The goddess commanded the king to build a temple dedicated to her in a very unknown and strange place at the bottom of a valley. In return for building this temple, she said, his subjects would be protected from disease and misfortune. Soon after the king's dream, another person living in the area reported that he had discovered a stone image of the goddess Kali in the same place where the goddess commanded the king to build her temple. The image was then left open to the elements as she commanded, and over her head a gilded cover was erected with 4 golden serpents supporting it. In addition, images of Lord Ganesha, the 8 Ashtamatrika goddesses carved in stone, and a stone Bhairava were placed in the inner sanctum along with the image of Dakshinkali. As Yama's consort, Yami, or Dakshinkali, is called upon for protection from disease, from misfortune and death. On Tuesdays and Saturdays, Kali's holy days, associated with Mars and Saturn respectively, animals, especially cockerels and uncastrated male goats, are brought by devotees for sacrifice. They are slaughtered in the temple's inner courtyard by quick decapitation, and their meat cooked and shared during family celebrations such as weddings, success in business, or a child passing his or her grade 10 exams and becoming eligible for university. Jema Dakshinkali. Jema Dakshinkali. Jema Dakshinkali. I now invite you to close your eyes and keep breathing deeply and listen to my words as I take you through this practice step by step. So with your eyes closed, hold the image of the Dakshinkali statue you've chosen in your mind. Hold the image, gaze upon that image in your mind's eye, noticing the details while I chant her mantra 12 times. Om Krim Kalike Namah. 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 And now that the mantra is completed, I invite you to visualize yourself standing or seated before Ma Dakshinkali. And as you breathe deeply, I invite you to imagine yourself, that is your body, slowly turning into black smoke. See yourself slowly dissolving into smoke as your body is being burned away, as if on a cremation fire. Rather than smoke, your body may also dissolve into a black, tar-like nectar. And now send your smoke or nectar to Ma Dakshinkali and let her drink of it or breathe it in. You may also notice the smoke entering her through the third eye in the center of her forehead. But watch the essence of your body slowly being absorbed by the Divine Mother. See every last ounce of you entering her. And at this point, you're only looking upon her as an observer now. And once you're consumed by her, gaze upon her, and especially her fearsome appearance. And now I invite you to merge your consciousness with hers. Approach her, giving her reverence, bowing to her, and then embrace her and join with her into one being. Will be at this point when you feel some kind of physical or emotional shift, some kind of felt sense. Be aware of what you feel and where you notice it in your body. You may even get a sudden flash of insight, but just witness any changes and honor the transformation. And now rest for a while in a state of stillness and silence. And use this time to fully integrate the practice. Nothing to do at this point. Nothing to accomplish. Just being in the present moment. Om Grim Galake Nama. Om Grim Galake Nama. Om Grim Galake Nama. Take a deep and clearing breath. Now letting go of the meditation and bringing your awareness back to your personal space. Notice the sound of my voice, the tolling of the bell, and any other sounds that are in your personal space. Notice the sensation of your body seated where it is, the temperature of the air on your skin, the clothes on your shoulders. Slowly move your fingers and your toes, your hands and your feet. Your arms and your legs. And then slowly, keeping your eyes closed, bring the palms of your hands together at your heart center. Giving gratitude to the Divine Mother for what she shared with you. Acknowledging that you've now taken a very important first step in resolving the issue that you've chosen to work with. Giving gratitude to yourself for taking part in this practice. You can listen again and again to the recording and do this practice again as you feel the need. Slowly opening your eyes. And namaste. Blessings always. And Jai Ma. So I hope you enjoyed that meditation. Something to be watchful for these next few days are its effects, maybe very subtle effects, maybe just sudden flashes of insight. Maybe you notice you handling a particular situation a little differently, a little more balanced fashion that you might have before. Maybe the right resources just suddenly coming to you. Kind of like the layers of an onion, sometimes it's useful to do this meditation, do it several times to refine the process more and more. So if you feel that need again, you're welcome to replay this broadcast. I'd like to close with the following benediction. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I look forward to you joining me again in a couple of weeks for our fire puja and satsang Tama Baglamukhi. Till then, a wonderful few days ahead. Namaste. Jai Mata Di.